Good morning, my neighbors. Welcome, welcome, welcome to a special little before you take the trade. Unfortunately, I'm having more production issues with the team that I pretty much assigned to get my market blitz and all that stuff done. So I'm probably gonna have to do it myself going forward. And I decided on Monday mornings I'm probably gonna do it. So go ahead and put in the chat or the comments. Do y'all prefer Monday morning to prepare for the week, which doesn't give you much time to put it all together and probably is gonna go right past you, or Friday evenings? If that would probably be a better spot for something along the lines of that. So that said, I'm going to do a very interesting breakdown of a lot of what I gotta cover that I usually do on Market Blitz, Horns versus Claws, and the other one, Rewind. But I probably don't have nothing to rewind because last week was a little chaotic, and unfortunately, with the family event, I'm way off schedule on that one. So I'm probably gonna have to do something from scratch for that. So before I get started, come on, where are you? Are you saying that this is not going to work? For some reason, my remote is not working. Let's reset you. And we're going to go ahead and get right to it in a few. Yeah, it's just not. Okay. I'm on the network. All right. Well, you know what? I can do it the old fashioned way. All right. So, first thing first, how I kind of do everything, I'm going to go ahead and do it just like I normally do. Um, I'm just, hold on, let me just do one more tweak. I'm going to add that, and let me just do a quick test of my audio before that gets started. Hey, good. Yeah, this thing still seems like that is still coming off loud. Let me bring that, tone that down a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get this party started. So the first one I always do is Market Blitz. So let me go ahead and get this chopped up so I can get ready for Instagram and YouTube along the way as well. All right. All right, welcome to another episode of BYTTT. Before you take the trade, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button right down below so that way I can keep on bringing you these gems. That said, we got a lot of work to do, so let's go ahead and get this started. Hey, good morning, my neighbors. I am very happy to be here so I can bring you Market Blitz. Yo, what's going on, everybody? We're going to go ahead and give it a news, so please pull out a pen and a pad because it's coming in hot. The first topic we're going to talk about is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is in a very interesting spot because right now it is up 4% after being up 19% the week before. Now, they have earnings that's coming up this week, so it's going to be very interesting on where it goes. Currently, it is trading around 129, and I think it's going to go ahead and try to attack maybe 137, maybe 140. So keep an eye on that. Now, the next topic we're going to talk about is CL. CL and EV has been on the battle, and it's, you can see on this chart, it's just been consolidated, and it feels like a 2-year consolidation, but it's about a year and a half or so. Currently, it did not break that 70 level, which is the level I was looking for it to break down. And right now, it's in that fair value gap that looks like around that $82 level or whatever the case may be. Now, the last topic we're going to talk about is Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is in a very interesting spot as well because what it's looking for is to try to pull that 50,000 level, which is right above that 50th day. That right there is your market. Alright, so that's that. Get that out the way. So I'm gonna just kind of recap what I'm looking at as far as all the tickers in itself. So Bitcoin, where it is sitting right now, especially with this weekly candle kind of engulfed before this week started, you could kind of see on the chart what it looks like. It looks like it's really struggling to actually break all the way down and get under that 50 EMA, which is part of the reason why I really like where Bitcoin is sitting. Now, trying to get above 67 to get past that 60, 69, maybe 70,000 level is probably going to be tough. You could kind of see in here, here, and here. These areas right here, it keeps on rejecting at these levels. So if it keeps on rejecting at Bitcoin on these levels, I'm just saying there's going to be some selling that's probably going to start around 69,000. So let's see if the bulls can really hold this trend. Let me go ahead and draw a trend line for you right here. I'm thinking that this is where they really are trying to attack. This is your level. This is the angle that they're looking for, and we're kind of far away from it. Good order block that's probably sitting right here, so it might be tough to get Bitcoin above 65, but 65,000, if we can hold it, that should give you a little bit of some good support to continue there. The one before we talked about was CL. You can see on CL, very interesting on why it just hasn't really broken out. Now, we did have this, what was that, 100, I want to say it was 150, 130 and 50 cents. This is when oil got all the way at that peak. And we have not even scratched the surface of trying to get up there. We've tried here, and now we just literally consolidated until we broke the trend. So the downtrend is over right now. But with that downtrend, we also have this uptrend that is right here. So I'm wondering, is this the angle that's trying to get through? Because the first thing that I kind of drew out probably a couple weeks ago, and we'll kind of point this out, was this angle. And we tried to hold it, and it failed, and it found new support here. So again, this is not a pure uptrend. This one was more of an uptrend, but this one, we will call this a potential uptrend. So this one is not really too cute for oil, and I just feel like there's more consolidation. Until real money comes in, you're probably going to set yourself up to really fall than for you to actually take anything to the upside. Now, day trades is going to look really good. So if we go over to the 1 hour, you probably can't really swing trade your XOMs, your BPs, and everything else because oil is affected. But you can kind of see we're doing like a W pattern, probably break out at this side. But this level, and I got, actually, you know what? Let me turn that alert back on. Let's see what happens when that happens. Right? If we get a breakout here, then you could get a nice little W move to the upside. But right now, it just really looks like when we get to this area, around $81, we reject there. Bring that back. We reject there. We reject here. We kind of came from there. We use that support. So that's why I'm very curious about this 81 level. And then now NVIDIA, looking at NVIDIA, let me go over to the weekly again. That was a monster recovery. Nice rejection. We kind of did a nice solid downtrend coming around this angle right here. Boom, boom, downtrend. And then we did another extension of that downtrend. So we just continued down. But as soon as we found a base, it went violently back up. Violent. So I like where NVIDIA is. They have earnings, so I would say just be a little careful. But right now, we're talking about 19% recovery right here. And then this one is 4% last week. So what do they have in store for us this week? And that's the one that's going to be very interesting going into earnings. All right, so that's that. So let's go ahead and get into the next segment. The next segment that I always like to do is horns versus claws. I try to look at different aspects of the market from a bullish perspective to a bearish perspective. I got a few tickers that I really want to look at, and I'm going to go ahead and point them out for y'all as well, and we'll break these down. So let me go ahead and get them set up. I wrote this down. Oh wow, let's see, let me get this down to here, and down to here, and we're going to get rid of you. All right, so tickers we're going to probably be looking at from a bearish perspective. We got X, which is US Steel. We have BBWI. Now this one's going to be interesting because this was like a very meme-ish stock. Get this, and boom, boom, boom. Another one is CCJ. Now this has been on my bear list before, so it's back in again, and I think it's in here. Oh, that's funny. I was trying to put it back again. It's back. It's in my radar again because it kind of looks like a bear flag if you kind of look at it from this perspective right here, which I'm gonna break down a little bit further. So that's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna have to probably slide you over here like that. That's weird. All right, well, not a lot of bearish things in the market right now, so it's kind of hard to find a screener that gets some type of level that can give us some bearish perspectives. All right, so on the bullish side, I have lows. Oh, actually, let me fix this first. Boom, boom, and boom. All right, and then I got lows, which I'm thinking about doing something from a spread perspective. If you're not on Tika, I do suggest you check it out. I have posted a nice little synopsis on the spread on that one. Then I got this one here. That is PNC. Financial sector still looks good, even though we kind of had a nice little rejection. And then MSTR. If you like Bitcoin, I'm sorry, if you don't like Bitcoin, this could be one of the ones that you look at. MSTR had a 10-to-1 split right there. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get the next segment done. What did I do in my folder? All right, there it goes. All right, let's get this queued up. All right, there we go. That's ready. All right, I hope you enjoyed that previous segment. Now, at the next segment, we're going to kind of go, I kind of bloopered that one. All right, I hope you enjoyed that previous segment. The next segment we're going to go into is one of my favorite, which is called Horns versus Claws. I like to look from a bullish and a bearish perspective to see what opportunities are actually in the market. That said, let's go ahead and get this work done.
Okay, you want to jump into the stock market, that's fine. Come on armed at your own peril. So I'm here to prep you before the battle begins this week at Horns versus Claws.
All right, everybody, we're going to get some work done. They're going to start with the horns. Bulls has been popping up the market. A good ticker right here is MSTR. MSTR has been making a nice little bullish move because of Bitcoin. If you look at the ticker here, you can see after the split, it started really picking up and they started filling the gap that was in between here. If we go over to the daily, you're going to see that the chart has been pushing up, getting above the 50 EMA. I want to see what it does if we can get above that 185. If we could do that, then we probably could get a little bit more higher along the way. So the next topic we're going to talk about is PNC. Now, PNC had a nice little pullback. So this could be a really good spot for you to kind of consider PNC. There is a possibility we could get a breakout above this level, which we had about 182 a couple weeks ago. So we can see this probably try to test that 200 level and start to rival everything that's going on with JPM. Now, the funny thing about this is that when I looked at the JPM chart, when I was looking at this on JPM already started their run out. So it's PNC behind and it's in the middle of the bag right now. This could be a real good ticket that can explode to that upside. Now the next topic we're going to talk about is Lowe's. Now Lowe's is a very interesting spot because it had good solid earnings. It had a nice engulfing that came out in the middle of the weekly right here. So it kind of gave you a nice little prelude of what the earnings could have, and we went ahead and filled this fair value gap on the weekly. So I want to see if they're going to get these tests and recapture this week around 202, and if it does, we're probably going to get some new highs. Now let's go over to the bears. Now they've been clawing down the market. The first thing I want to point out is that CCJ. I had CCJ on my radar a couple weeks ago because we had a nice little push down all the way down to here. We found a little bit of support and push back up. So now it's starting to look more like a bear flag. If we go over to the daily, you probably can see it a little bit more pronounced. And then we got ourselves a death cross to the downside. Are they starting to exit out of uranium? That is a possibility, but we're going to have to look at that at a later time. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is BBWI. Now, if you were trading roughly around the pandemic and everything else, this was one of those meme stocks that kind of kept them going up and down, especially with what's going on already. Now, looking at it where it is right now, it looks like we had a nice little golden cross, kind of gave it its peak roughly around May 2024, and now it's just been on this downslide. Are they going to go ahead and attack this level and bring it down to $27? Well, this kind of looks like a bear flag right here, so this could be a continuation to that downside, but be careful with this one. If this thing starts to pick up, you could get a nice little reversal. What this is actually doing, an inverse head and shoulder and push to that upside. Very, very dangerous spot if you want to play the bear side, but I would love to see when this death cross that's happening continues down and they start to really take this all the way down to the 27 level. So let's see what happens there. Now the last topic we're going to talk about is US Steel. Now this one is a very, very fun ticket to play. They pay decent dividends if you're going to play it from a stocks and option side. You can. The only thing is right now it's probably not the best time to buy it, but it is somewhere around its base. Now if we go ahead and squeeze this chart a little bit, let me go ahead and the weekly, you'll see that this was a previous level of resistance. So I'm thinking we're sitting right on top of resistance and this could explode to the upside. The only thing that's a little fearful is that this is a engulfing candle that they just put on the weekly. Does this give another continuation and probably come down to this level? That's going to be very interesting. Look at it daily, you can see that the death cross is flirting with it and it's probably going to push to that downside. So if you're going to play this to the downside, this could be a good opportunity. The moment that it breaks out of this 34 level, and if it goes down to that level, you could probably buy it at around $31, $32. And that right there is pretty much your horns versus claws. All right, see y'all later. All right, so that is that segment. That's out the window. But let's kind of understand what's happening here. Now, I have this is basically my 800 EMA. And what I like about this is it just feels like a big old support and resistance line. And what I like out of here is that even though this is starting to cross up, right? This is probably going to give us some more momentum to the upside. If you don't know who US Steel is, when Build Back Better Bill was going, I probably said that wrong. Build Back Better Bill. That just try to say that 10 times fast. When that bill was being passed, this was one of the ones that was beneficial with a lot of investors pouring into it. Because if we're going to go ahead and start doing some infrastructure work, guess what you're going to need? You're going to need steel. So that's where US Steel comes in. No one really talks about it right now. I think there's a lot talking about what's going on with the election. Are they going to go ahead and get the Democrats that's going to push the Build Back Better bill in the agenda, or are you going to get somebody on the Republican side? That's probably why we're kind of consolidating right here, and they're probably going to veto that bill or just literally suck all the money out of it before it happens. So I think that's why this one's kind of pausing where it is. But if we really look at it, it's been consolidating and rising ever since the conversation happened. So we're talking about, here's our pandemic right here, here's our rise. And if we do a deviation here, this was that last bit of a rise somewhere around here. Are they going to test it into that? That's why I really like that $31 level, because US Steel, if it gets to that 31 and investors start to step back in, this thing can do a nice explosion to the upside. But there is some political influences in this one. BBWI, right? Bath and Body Works. Again, this is one of the ones because people couldn't figure out, are we are we putting money in Best Buy or are we putting in Bed Bath Beyond? And then BBWI falls into that whole entire category. There was a lot of silliness that was going on in the market during the pandemic. But if we look at this one does not look like it's a strong position. If there is a chance that they're going to go ahead and test this level around $27, I'm going to zoom in right here. You could kind of see we have these wicks here. This was a nice little order block that was right there. And that's the one that they kind of tested and sprung it back up. But it could not hold above the 50 EMA and make it separate from the 200. This can give you a lot of problems. So I'm looking for BBWI to come down to the downside a little bit more and probably really start to tank. Now, if it does, there is some bullish divergence that's happening down here. I'm curious, are they going to go ahead and push this right back up as soon as you make that lower low? So just be careful if you're going to try to play it to that downside. And then US Steel, I'm sorry, not US Steel, CCJ is another one that I like for bearish downturn. I want to see this thing make a lower low on the weekly, and then I'll try to test some of these levels down here. So I'm very curious, are we going to get past this level here? So let me put an alert here. Breaking down with a question mark, right? So I'm thinking about something below $40 is what CCJ is looking for. If sellers can push it under $40, I will not be surprised that $35 is the next level where you're going to see buyers step in. This was all part of that reversal after that massive sell-off in the market. So $35.50 is the level. I'm thinking they're just looking at psychological level, that. But if it does break through the 35, then you're talking about a full extension. Let me go back here a full extension of that bear flag, which is pretty much this pole here going down to the downside, and we're talking about somewhere around breakout level of something like this, and this could, we talking about maybe a $20 stock, maybe, we'll see. All right, let's go over to the bullish side again, and I was talking about MSTR, really interesting spot. Bitcoin is powering up. I like that. If Bitcoin can cross that 67,000, I think MSTR will be one of the first beneficiaries to that. So this is something that you want to have in your radar. And if this continues, this could be a real print out. All right, let's go to the weekly. You'll see that this has been on this tear, and it just follows suits with that Bitcoin, right? It kind of had that topping area that was roughly around here, and then they kind of kept on trying to take out that 70,000, and they didn't do that. That was that big sell-off, and then we kind of found that bottom at the 50 EMA on the weekly. This is the 50 EMA on the weekly on MSTR. Very similar. So if you don't like Bitcoin, you don't want to transfer your cash into coins, MSTR is a good area that you could probably play on that side. All right, so PNC. PNC, I like this one. I thought about playing this after that whole pullback, but I was looking for it to catch support at 171, and the moment that we didn't, the break above did not give me confidence because I felt like they really started liquidating a lot of bulls, so I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But this one could go to those new highs right there for the year, I believe. Yeah, probably about for the year. So I want to see what it does above 182. And maybe I'll consider if it holds support at 182, I could test something around that 200 level. It's kind of similar to what JPM is at right now. And then the last one is Lowe's, right? So we got Lowe's, and this one's just a solid company. If you like Home Depot and you want to play something a little different, Lowe's is another one. The spreads on this is not super great, so I might look at this from, I'm sorry, not the spreads. The open interest and the volume is not that good on this one, so I may look at it in the perspective of possibly doing a vertical on this one. So this one's going to be very interesting. I'm going to see how that pans out. Kind of tested this a little bit, but this one is probably one that I might lean on to see if I could take it up to that 260 level. Going to be fun. All right. Now, I do not have a segment for my, oh my God, not trade of the week, but my rewind, right? Because I did not do Market Blitz. You know, unfortunately, something happened in the family, and I just went ahead and took care of that. Couldn't get the production done right. People sucks or whatever, but we'll see how that goes. But that said, we're going to go right over to my 8 grid and kind of get y'all prepared for this week. So let's see what happens in the market. Here's my 8 grid. All right. So I am looking at the market very carefully. I kind of took out a lot of my long term. I got one that's in 2026, but a lot of my long term stuff is just out of the window. I did not like how, and actually, to kind of put this in perspective, I'm going to get rid of natural gas for right now. Oh, actually, natural gas did do what I was expected it to do. Didn't even pay attention to that one. But anyways, I'm going to take out natural gas. I'm going to put ES here, because this is something that I kind of caught on overnight, and then I'm going to discuss what that means. So here's NQ. So NQ on the daily, we could see that we're kind of going into this wedging type of action, right? Where we're trying to decide, is this inside bar going to win and there's the reverse to the downside? Or now we're currently making an inside bar right now and see if there's going to be now a new reversal back to the upside. So I'm very curious on what this downtrend will do. So we got a nice little downturn right here. We broke down and this started to break out, but we didn't break the pivot. So could this actually go down, retest this level, and start to really pan out to the downside and come down under 19,456? That's what I'm thinking. If we can hold support, break this pivot, and go up to this upside past 2017, then I could go ahead and target around here, around 2478. That's what I'm kind of looking for, is more upside, because I like this base, and it's kind of like we're doing this uptrend right here. And we're going to do this as uptrend, right? So we kind of got these people battling, and these people are battling, and they're trying to accumulate, and they're trying to accumulate. eventually somebody's got to give, right? So we're gonna wait for this to break out because again, we do not fight inside the ranges. If you ever been in one of my orb trainings, then you know I don't like ranges, and this is what it looks like here. So NQ looks like a wedge. Let's go over to CL. CL, we did not break the 70. So you see how I kind of broke it down to Market Blitz. That $70 level, right, was roughly the low, yeah, 71.67. I was looking for a break here or maybe even a break over here at 71.41, somewhere around here. We didn't get that. We didn't get none of those. So now it looks like everything is reversing. You're talking about 3 days of just straight bullish momentum out of the dollar. So we got about a dollar move here, not dollar, but oil. But we got a dollar move here, we got $2 move here, and another $2. And the day is not even over on oil. Is this going to be like $2 to $4 up? We're going to see when it's all said and done. Gold went ahead and took out that level, right? And it kind of went a little bit higher, used it as support, which is that 25.22 level. I don't like gold because of what I see here. It looks like we're just kind of like running, not only running out of steam, but we're kind of like holding on just straight fumes itself. Like we're trying to get up here, and today's action, getting up there and getting rejected right around that 25.60. New York is going to have to really come with some muscle to try to take out these highs. But then these are now new people that's getting in on the bullish side. Could this be another failure? We'll see. Same thing with silver. I really wanted it to already get here, so that way the gold can finally make a decision on what it wants to do. But the gold is pretty much going to be powered by this. You can see we're holding this green because gold is also holding their green. So we got green and green, and we got green and green. So if silver starts to sell off and does something violent, break this trend, I can see this really start to come down. We've already tested the in-between of the 250. Does that mean we're going to test below the 200? Maybe get the rest of this measure move from that M that failed? I don't know. We're going to see. All right. British pound looks like this. Market's pushing up. Wait. I did say market's pushing up. Wait. I just said it was wedging. So the market is pushing up for the British pound, but they're not pushing up the rest of the market. Well, this is what I wanted to point out. If we go over to ES, ES does not look like a wedge. So this is my theory, and this is my assumption to a certain degree, right? Could it be that people are getting out of tech, or they're using the cash from tech, and they're pulling the money and they're putting it right into things in SPX? And you've been into one of my classes, I've explained like there's so many different sectors inside of SPX. I think healthcare, maybe that's a possibility. So check out the healthcare chart, XLV, and you'll be able to see. But right now, it looks like ES has a better chance on filling their fair value gap and pushing up than NQ does, because right now they're consolidating under it. So I really am leaning on cash is being pulled, and they're tossing it right inside of the S&P 500. All right, Russell, this is another one. I told y'all about Russell before. If it can get out of this range, and we got to close above it, you might as well play the Russell back up. And this is another place that you can park your money if you're taking your money out of tech, which is the QQQs. Could it be that they're playing it inside of Russell, a little bit inside of S&P 500? So just check out some of the small caps, some of the ones that are not international. Get out of your Metas, your Microsofts, and Nvidias, if that's something as far as a short and long-term trade. But if you got some long-term investing, this is not for you. This is not the conversation. You invested into it, that means you keep it there. You got a longer horizon than that. But if you're going to try to trade inside of it in the next year or two, then I would say they're probably pulling out cash, probably going to build out a base. Maybe 2025, 2026 is when they're going to try to really recover the Qs. And then the last one, before we get out of here, is the US dollar. British pound is pushing up. Today, the dollar is pushing up. All right, yeah, probably like, wait, what is he talking about? All right, let's go here. The British pound was pushing up, and then it's got this little reversal, right? If the dollar starts to gain strength, what ends up happening? The market reverses. So if the British pound starts to fall and Qs are staying inside a sense of consolidation, ES is close to its fair value gap. Russell just broke through their order block. Could this be an area that it rejects comes back down, retest the Russell's level, and then push back up so that can force the dollar down? Could this be ES just coming here to fill the fair value gap, catch liquidity so they can go ahead and push back up for some higher highs? Could this be that fair value gap on the bearish side on NQ is just going to hold and they're going to push this down further? That's what you got to kind of like read between the tea leaves and make a sound decision. So that said, that is pretty much everything with before you take the trade. I hope you enjoy. Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. I'm always dropping as much gems. Also, I got a couple of shorts out there. I appreciate all the likes and the shares. And thank you for taking the time. Tomorrow, we're going to be back to our regular schedule program for Before You Take the Trade, Trading Floor Edition. And we're going to go ahead and do our orb setup. Go ahead and enjoy your day. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great day.